Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee. I'm your host, Principal Adam O'Kelke. It is Wednesday, the 14th of April, halfway through April. And we've got a great morning coffee in store for you all today. With me, as always, is my trusty sidekick and co-host, Sylvia Beyondich. Good morning, Sylvia. How are you doing?
Good morning, Principal O'Kelke. It's going to be a great day. We get to start the day together and we get to end the day with the APC meeting, and I'm excited for the great day ahead.
Me too. Absolutely. We start and end our day with morning coffee and the APC meeting tonight. We have two of our rock star sixth grade teachers with us today who have done amazing work all year. And they're going to talk about what's happening in sixth grade language arts and social studies. Super, super cool stuff. Before I get too far ahead of myself, there's a couple things I want to share to start our meeting. Of course, first, that STrEaM Academy empowers students to be involved learners, critical thinkers, and engaged citizens inspired by the natural world. It's the most beautiful mission any school's ever written. Good job, founder Brown. I also want to acknowledge that Anchorage has been, the Anchorage area has been denying the Athabascan homeland for over 1,000 years. We are honored and privileged to live, to teach, and to walk these lands. And we try to pass that on by teaching our students to be good stewards of the environment and continuing the Athabascan tradition of honoring and respecting the land. Well, thank you. What's on our agenda today, Ms. Beyondich?
Well, I'm excited to get to hear from Ms. Kotelman and Ms. Gabel, our sixth grade cohort. We're going to have a check-in with our counselor, health and safety update from you. STrEaM Anchorage 501c3 is bursting with information. We're going to get an update from there. And then I guess we're going to cover the rest of the schedule for the rest of the year so that everyone knows what's going on.
Sounds like a pretty good agenda to me. It sounds like a great agenda to me. I also am mostly excited to hear from our sixth grade team, although the rest of the stuff sounds pretty good too. I bet Coach Mosen will tell us what's going on with skiing when he gets a moment. Thanks for joining us, Coach. Upcoming dates to remember today. I'd like you to remember that the monthly APC meeting is tonight at 5:30 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel, meaning you can watch it right here on this exact same YouTube feed if you'd like. Our APC is the Academic Policy Committee. It is the local school board that oversees our charter school. Every charter in Anchorage has an APC. It's Anchorage School District language for charter school boards. It is my board of directors. They are my bosses. And the boss of my bosses, Janelle Brown, was here, but it looks like she might have had to step away. That's okay. She's got other meetings and things happening. No school this Friday. No school on Friday. This is only a STrEaM thing. Twice a year, once in the fall, in October, usually the first or second Friday of October, and then once in the spring. It's usually the second Friday in April. Our lease with Wayland Baptist University stipulates that we do not have school at all in the building. Well, we could have school, but we cannot access the facilities of the building. We're not supposed to park in the parking lot even because they have their fall, and then their spring graduation. Normally that's a very big event at Wayland Baptist. You can't park here if you want to. And so we used to do a trek, all day trek, pretty difficult to pull off without being able to come to the building at all. So we shifted that to a professional development day for staff. Students have no school. No, they don't have to get on Zoom. They should enjoy their 3-day weekend. Our staff, actually, we have a really cool plan. Our staff is going to work remotely, and we did a choose your own adventure professional development this year. I'm really excited about it. Megan and I kind of cooked it up together, going back and forth on how to balance the requirement in our calendar that this is a professional development day and that we work, with honoring the fact that it's April and our teachers are exhausted and we have this perfect opportunity built in for them to work from home and to catch their breath and to catch up on things a little bit. So we offered them a choose your own PD day where they actually filled out a form and they selected the things that they were going to work on, the professional development they're going to do, the meetings they're going to have, and they built their own menu to drive their own learning and their own PD for Friday. So we're pretty excited about that. We think our staff is happy about it, so that's cool. Is it next week? Not next week, but the following week, the last week of April is Spirit Week. And we'll have more information coming out on that. We'll be wearing pajamas and those types of things. I love that. And then the last day of school is the 20th of May, and we have field day. We traditionally have a whole school field day because of some restrictions and regulations still based on the, because of the pandemic. We're going to split it into grade level. Sixth grade, I know that's blank, sorry. Sixth grade told me yesterday they are doing stuff on campus and here in Muldoon Park and on our campus. They have a really cool plan for that. Seventh grade is going to Chugach Foothills Park and eighth grade is going to Cheney Lake. And there's some more information on that. Thank you, Megan, for sliding that in on it in the slideshow. So that's some of the big things coming up this year. Remember that today is a working Wednesday. Students are required to log into their Zoom classes. Hybrid and in-person students must log in and have attendance taken. You do get marked absent if you don't log in and participate. The primary job will be to do what the teachers ask you to do, working on the assignments that they have planned for you, projects, that type of thing. The secondary piece of that is, I really need to change this slide. The first priority is what teachers have assigned for their classes. Then the next priority would be to spend some time on iReady, Alex, and then any homework you have or just reading a good book. How about an update on the 501c3? Mrs. Beyondich and Melissa Reed and anyone else that wants to talk about our 501c3, tell us about this basket auction and what else is going on.
Yeah, I'm glad Melissa is here, and I hope she gets an opportunity to chime in. She's been working super hard as our coordinator for the basket auction. We also have a brand new logo. Look at our brand new logo there on the top of the screen. STrEAM Anchorage 501c3 is the one that's going to maintain the original logo for STrEAM. And so we've adjusted and we're going to have new bumper stickers printed up here pretty soon if you're interested in a bumper sticker. But that's just all outside stuff. The basket auction, our bidding opens on April 30th. We've got an event planned on Facebook, and we've already been posting to the discussion board on Facebook. So you can follow us there, and we encourage you to share all this information. Donations are going to continue to arrive into the school for baskets through this Thursday, through tomorrow. And then we're going to take all of that stuff, a combination of parent volunteers and staff members. We'll take all that stuff home over the long weekend, and we will get it assembled into a beautiful basket. We've got a couple that we've already posted pictures of on our Facebook event page, some really cute ones. And then they come back to the school on the 19th for the 501 team to pick up and get taken to our staging area in East Anchorage, which is somebody's garage. And the photographer will come and get all of those printed out or taken the pictures of. We'll load them into our website. We're using a platform for the online auction, which is specifically designed for nonprofits to, there's Melissa, specifically for nonprofits so that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and we can actually put the money that we raise back into our school. Melissa, do you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, we're really excited about this. Some people might be wondering why we're asking for donations to come in so far in advance, and it really is because this is going to be a 100% online auction. So we need a little bit of time for our volunteers to work their digital magic in the background to get that auction up and running. That said, if you need to make special arrangements to bring a donation after that deadline, or you can't get it into the school during business hours, you can always email me at read_melissa@asbk12.org, and we can make special arrangements to get those items picked up. And you can also email me if you have any questions about the auction.
Thank you, Melissa, for taking the lead and really helping us get this off the ground. As everyone knows, or as I suspect everyone knows, we attempted to do an online auction last year and the pandemic hit and we had to stop in our tracks. We had a bunch of donations at that time that we have made into baskets, which are already in our staging area now and which we featured on our Facebook Live event last Saturday. This Saturday, we have another Facebook Live event planned. And so at 2:30 on Saturday, we're going to go live from the staging area again. And Ms. Kotelman, Ms. Mickelson, and I will be there on Facebook Live. So watch for us.
That's awesome. I'm super excited for the basket auction. Thank you to all of our volunteers, our 501c3. Really cool. I'm really looking forward to bidding on some of those baskets. Melissa?
Can I just add a huge thank you to all of our teachers? They took on contacting parents and helping us get connected with parents for this at the same time as they were getting ready for kids to come back to in-person. So they really took on a lot. They have been doing such an amazing job, both with our kids and with supporting us. And I cannot say thank you enough. And thank you, Sylvia, and the rest of the 501c3 for all of the time that they're putting in too. This has just been an amazing opportunity, and we really appreciate everybody stepping up and stepping in to help us out.
Yes, I echo that sentiment. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, thank you to our 501c3. Next on Morning Coffee, we have two of our superstar sixth grade teachers, social studies and language arts focus, Miss Gabel and Miss Kotelman. Good morning, Miss Gabel and Miss Kotelman. The floor is yours. Welcome. And we're excited to hear what's happening in your sixth grade cohort.
Good morning. Thanks for having us on to talk about this. Lots of exciting things are happening. I'm going to talk about social studies first. I'm Miss Gabel, and it's all about ancient civilizations in social studies this quarter, and we're doing lots of fun things. So first, we're discussing the 5 traits that make up a civilization and going in depth with those. And the students, their masteries are all going to be around creating those 5 traits for their own civilizations. And then we're going to use those in a kind of combo risk Dungeons and Dragons game that they can play later on with that. And as they're creating their civilizations, each week we're discussing an ancient civilization and they're identifying those traits in that ancient civilization. And so we started with ancient Egypt and we're on ancient India right now. And then we're going to be going to ancient China, then ancient Greece, and then we're going to be talking about Australia. And the kids get to decide too. I like input on where they're interested around the world. So there's going to be some choice in that as well. But I do want to show you some of the cool things, what it looks like, because just me talking about it makes it hard to imagine. So this is what I start off by giving the students, and they have this master character sheet. And I'm just going to show you it as kind of the mini view because there's a lot of pages to it. But we start off finding where their location is on the world, and then they delve in and see what resources they can access, and then they make a map. And that's what they just recently were finishing up doing. And so here's a copy of a student's map, and they've labeled the key on here. And as you can see, the detailed houses, and they're next to the ocean, and they have road systems coming in. There's lots of choice in how they do their map. So here is another map that a student created, and their key as well. So you can see the park and the stable. And there's multiple pages to this, so the key continues on. And then here's another city that they created. And then this is a grid version. So lots of choice and ways of style and how they do it. And then the overview of where they are. So they're in New Zealand, and so they have their city set up in the southern part. So they're getting really into it. It's awesome to see how much they're enjoying this. And just so you can see, this is what the map assignment looks like. So it's very detailed. They know how many people they have, they know what those people are doing, and then they have everything they're required to put on that map. And like I said, that's what we're doing each week. They're really into it. It's a lot of fun when we get to the game. And we're going to be starting up again on Wednesdays, where kids can come and play that have finished their societies from last quarter. So we're going to be starting that again. And I know there's a lot of excitement for that. All right, I'm going to throw it over to Ms. Kotelman.
Hey, Miss Gable is underselling this mini society civilizations thing. Okay, so like kids finish their work early in language arts, and I say you can read, you can work on missing work, you can, I gave them early finishing options, and almost every single one of them wants to talk about mini society, and they form alliances and like treaties and plan for world domination. They are into it. You want to see engagement in 6th grade, mini society is where it's at. So, so props to Gable. So I want to show you guys, I'm going to do a little show and tell as well. So I have several things to share. The first thing is our homepage on our Canvas site. So on our homepage, we have a ton of cool stuff. So, and I'm just going to try to flip to student view really quick so you can see what kids see. So I have my announcements at the top. I try to post an announcement daily with links to the assignments. And then I have information on here. The first piece of information I want to share with everybody is that we have an upcoming super deadline. As you guys know, we allow redos and retakes. So, but since we're starting a new unit, we're finishing film and literature. I want that to actually be finished so we can focus on argumentative writing. So my feedback and my energies can be focused on the new project rather than continuing to grade old work. And this helps kids learn how to honor deadlines while also being flexible. I explained this to all of them and they all understood. So Wednesday at 8 p.m. is the super deadline for all film and literature assignments. And so since that's over, I thought I'd show you guys some of the cool stuff that we made. So for film and literature, we studied a story called All Summer in a Day, and where there's a short story by Ray Bradbury and a short film from like the 80s. You might recognize some of the people in there. It's very corny, and the kids like to talk about how corny it is, but it's a really good comparison. And it's a really good test case for studying theme, because the story ends really sad and really depressing, and the kids hate it. They're like, why are they so mean to the main character? And then I'm like, okay, it's fine. Let's watch the movie. And then the movie, it ends happy, and they're still mad because it's a terrible ending. They my opinion, they forgive her and she forgives them for doing the horrible thing. Anyway, the kids get to make either a graphic essay or a video essay to reflect on how changing things in a movie can change theme and how different mediums communicate different messages. So this is an example of one of those graphic essays. And I just love grading these more than a 5-paragraph essay because they're so much nicer to look at. So, and they get a chance to reflect. So here is something that I am proud that the students are thinking about, because I asked them, why are we learning this? You're not necessarily going to be told in a job interview, here's a short story, figure out the theme. Why do I take this time to teach you theme? And they said, well, we should learn themes because it helps you understand. It can help you analyze and solve problems. Analysis in this area can help you analysis in other areas. And they actually get to see how these skills can transfer in different places. So here's one of those. They made it in Canva. This one was made in slides. So it shows that you can make really nice looking things in very simple programs. Some pictures to help us. And so All Summer in a Day is definitely something that film and literature is something that I'm passionate about, and the kids love to talk about the movies that disappoint them. And so it's a really fun project. So now what we're going to do is, since we've wrapped up film and literature, we're moving into argumentative writing. So, and we're going to be doing this for the remainder of the quarter, which seems like a long time, but it's only like 5 weeks. So, on our homepage, we have a link to our vocabulary and a link to our timeline. So I'm trying my best to get this academic vocabulary thing on lock as a teacher. So every day we engage with these terms and we go back to this. All right, we just read an article, which terms did we see today? And the kids will tell me and we'll review those. So this is kind of my digital word wall, I guess. So here is our project map. So I gave this to kids and I find this helps orient them in the day's study as well. So every day when we start a new assignment, I show them this map. I say, okay, so we're in the examining argument stage right now. We're practicing tracing and evaluating evidence and reasoning. Okay, so this is, as you can see, it's pause. Eventually we're gonna have a ma, but we're working on the pause thing. These are not necessarily days in the timeline, but these help see kids how all of these skills stack onto each other and build up to something. And I find that this has helped orient kids in a project a lot better than I have in the past. So some of the ways we do this, here's one of the fun activities that I want to show you guys that we do in argumentative writing. And I'll actually share an editable link with you guys so you can play around with it. Copy link, done. All right, getting my chat. All right, so there's a link to the slides. So once you guys get in the slides, you can kind of zoom out a little bit and you want to be able to see these tokens here. So what we found is that kids need a chance to kind of move around and play with things, but it's really hard to do in a digital setting, and especially in a setting with this tiny room and you can't really be physically distanced. So this document is a way for us to simulate movement and voting with your feet. So, and these chairs are all from one of my favorite games, Animal Crossing. So the kids get to laugh, you know, like, you play video games, Miss Kotelman? Yeah. So exactly. So you get to pick a token and you'll notice that I have some no touchy. So these are the past classes, you know, but you'll see that kids have their names on them and they were able to move and vote. And the podium is where the speaker goes. So say our little angel is sitting on the golden throne and they get to speak. So the resolution is America should get rid of daylight savings time. And so if somebody disagrees, we take turns talking and they get to go explain their position. And while they're talking, people can move their tokens. If somebody from the disagree side says something and Heart Eyes is in the froggy chair on the agree side and is like, you know what, that's a really good point, I'm going to change my position. They scoot themselves over, right? And so it's a chance to have like a live debate without having to worry about physical distancing. So hopefully we can do this. Hopefully this can help us simulate some movement in a physically distant classroom, but at the very least, it was great during Zoom. So another thing we use is this hexagonal thinking, and we'll be doing this with our vocabulary soon. Let me give this to you guys. This is for demonstrations anyway. So edit. And we'll all be on the same doc. So if you guys want to move this around, you can, but you don't necessarily have to. And if we do, don't run into each other. Okay, so hexagonal thinking is another vocabulary tool that I have found online, and it's very cool to get kids to learn how to connect and see how words relate to one another. And these can be vocabulary terms, these can be concepts that they're working with. My idea is to do this with our argumentative writing. Miss Gabel and I use this tool to engage them in their common web browser vocabulary. So we had like internet, web browser, web page, website, and they had to see how they all connected. And there's 6 sides on each hexagon. So, and I just put some STrEAM themed words in here. So we have project-based learning, and I want to see, I think that critical thinking and project-based learning and engaged citizens are all together in this web right here. So they get to connect the hexes and create a concept map, basically, on how these terms work well together. And there's so many different ways to do this. If you have 16 kids in a class, you're gonna have 16 different webs. And another fun way to do it is to kind of gamify it. You give kids the hexagons, you tell them to divide it, and they take turns placing it on the page. And then they're responsible for explaining their connections. I connected project-based learning in the middle between critical thinking and engaged citizens because, and they have to explain those connections and tell me why they're related. So, and I just made a giant stack of laminated hexagons. So that way we can write on them with whiteboard markers and actually use them physically in person if students want to, and they can take a picture of their map and turn that in. And they're laminated so I can sanitize them and they're safe. So that's exciting. So yeah, that's language arts. And then in mission vision, Ms. Gabel and I's goal is to help students become more confident with their tech. A lot of students are thrown into using Google Apps, just use Google Docs, just use slides. And a lot of students do really well with that. A lot of students have figured out how to do amazing things with slides. Some kids don't know how to change the font. So Ms. Gabel and I, our mission is to equalize, like to help students feel that they can be confident in their tech use. And this is really important in 6th grade because they're going to be using these throughout. So throughout, we're teaching them how to use Google Apps, and we're also getting them to reflect on technology and their use of technology. So for their slides presentation, for their mastery, we gave them, they could make a presentation about anything, 10 slides, whatever you want. And you just have to meet all of these criteria. So you have to have a title. It has to relate to your topic. Every slide has text. Fonts are consistent. Spelling and mechanics are correct. You use different layouts. You have images. Your images look neat. So of course we get some kooky ones, but it's amazing because the kids create these high quality presentations with useful visual aids. And it's almost as if that they, taking some time to actually teach them how to do this creates more quality work. It's really, really fun. So hopefully that gets you a little bit excited about mission vision, language arts, and all that. That's what I have today. So thanks for listening to me ramble about language arts and cool stuff.
That was awesome. Thank you both so much. I hope parents that were with us and on YouTube and anyone that watches this later, really hope people get a chance to listen and take a look at what these two are doing, because it's what we dreamed of when we opened a school 5 years ago. I mean, Miss Gabel's got this incredibly detailed, in-depth project that really hits the hallmarks of project-based learning and gives kids voice and choice and ownership and engages them in this super deep way in the social studies standards that she's covering. It's just amazing. It's awesome. And the Miss Kotelman's creativity and what she's doing with language arts and how she's tying things that are in our mission statement and our pillars of learning to, the standards that she's teaching and getting kids to connect and identify with those. I mean, there's just so many amazing things going on with our teachers. Thank you, Ms. Kotelman and Ms. Gabel. Our students are lucky to have you. You two are amazing educators, and you're a huge part of what makes this our dream school. This is the school I wish I could have gone to. And when I was in middle school, I wish I had STrEAM. I wish I had you two as my teachers. And my favorite teacher of all time is my language arts teacher, Dean Odell. But I hope Dean's not listening. I think I'd probably, if I had to choose, I'd go with Miss Kotelman's class at this point. Although I love you, Dean. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This is super cool to hear the things that you're doing. Amazing. Yeah. I think we'll switch gears and check in with our counselor in our counselor's corner, Miss Bonerts, our amazing counselor. Good morning, Miss Bonerts. How are you today? I see you got your coffee, ready for our first in-person staff meeting in 13 months. What's happening in the counselor's corner?
Well, I'm happy to say not a lot. That's always good news in the counselor world. But good things, our testing, PEAKS testing is complete. Our teachers did an amazing job. I was really, really happy with how everybody just took the reins and got their tests in and did a great job with our kids, and the subs were great and everybody did a good job. I think the kids, they don't love it, but they did well. They did well. I was really impressed with how well they all did as well. So testing is finished. 8th grade transitions. So last Friday was the last day for students to be able to go online to choose their electives from their zone home school. If a student is not going to their zone school, parents and students are going to want to reach out to those counselors at their school of choice to work with them to get their elective choices in. I do have some resources from our future Bartlett kids. The counselor shared a Google form, so if students wanted to change their mind after Friday, that they can fill that out. And I was planning on sending that out to our students this week, to our 8th graders. 8th grade parents, please make sure, just let me know if you have any questions about programs or who to talk to, or what are some good electives or things like that. Any questions you have about our future 9th graders, I'm happy to help. The last thing, our Youth Leadership Lab team has been working really hard to develop a really fun Spirit Week activity for our school. Our main goal is to connect students with each other, connect students with adults. And so what better way to connect, to have a fun old-fashioned competition for Spirit Week. So Spirit Week is the last week of April, and each day there will be a fun day that kids can dress up. Even our hybrid kids are involved on Wednesdays. It's crazy makeup hair day, so kids can do that on Zoom with their teachers and with their class. But every day there is a theme for students to connect with others. So Monday is Mindful Monday, and we want kids to connect with themselves, being more mindful. And then Tuesday is To Compliment Tuesday. So we want to encourage kids to give out compliments, just lots of fun things like that. So each day, in addition to doing a fun dress up theme, they will be doing something kind to with each other and with their families and to themselves. So that's kind of the drive behind that. The students will get scored every single day. So every student who dresses up will get a point for their cohort, and the winning cohort with the most points at the end of the week will get a really fun prize. And so we need to still determine that prize. I suggested cupcakes in the morning, and I think 100% of our teachers were like, no, that's a terrible idea. So we're going to try to come up with some cool things for all of our kids to do. So Sylvia, I see that you wrote in the chat, Mindful Monday, Kindness Tuesday is To Compliment Tuesday. Wednesday is Wacky Wednesdays. Do something wacky with your family or bubble friends. Thursday is Thankful Thursday, so thank a teacher or staff member. And Friday is Fun Friday, where we're going to give out stuff to the kids at the end of the day with a treat as well. So, so those will be some really cool things. And our Youth Leadership Lab leaders will take this on to explain it to their fellow students. Ms. Gatlin and I will do the counting for the contest, and we're just really, really excited. It's time to, let loose and get our wiggles out and, do something fun this year with wearing masks, with social distancing, but still trying to do something fun and get some spirit going. So yeah, that's all I got, Mr. Mokoki.
That's awesome. That's a great update, and I'm excited for Spirit Week. Thank you for all of your work in helping our 8th graders to choose programs and transition to 9th grade. It's a complex task. We have students who go all over the district, and it's really, really cool that we help them explore all those options. Thank you. And thanks so much for your work on PEAKS testing this year. And I'm so personally grateful that you have coordinated PEAKS testing. If I could share a little personal insight, this is the first time since I've been a principal and doing state standardized testing in whatever form that I haven't been the main person to do all of the test coordination and all of the work and all of the stress and all of the stuffs. I did it in rural Alaska. I did it, it was the point person for all of it at Burchell High School. I did it when we started our school. This is the first time I have handed off a massive workload of state testing to another person. And I feel guilty. And I also feel this tremendous relief that Amy took this on and managed it and came up with ideas I never thought of, and better ways to support teachers through the process, which was really amazing, and just did a really awesome job with testing. So thank you so much for taking that off my plate and doing an amazing job with it. And thank you so much for getting us through state testing and in the clear, and great work. I'm very appreciative. Always very appreciative of you. Extra appreciative right now. All right, health and safety update. I don't have any really any major new updates. I shared a little bit that we asked Mr. Holsopple, our 7th grade science teacher, to take on an extra duty of, we are calling him our health and safety coordinator. And the reason for that is, for one, we don't have a school nurse, and at regular schools, the primary person who manages and handles all of the information and updates and the magnitude of teaching and learning in a pandemic is the school nurse. And so it falls on Mrs. Beyondich and I to try to keep up with and coordinate all of that. And we just really felt we wanted another person to share that load and help us with that. And Mr. Holsopple fits the bill perfectly. If you know Mr. Holsopple, he is a science teacher. He's a brilliant person. He has a medical background. One of his jobs was teaching and training nurses. He's worked at Duke University. I think it's okay to share his wife is a doctor. So he's just kind of the perfect person to be our health safety coordinator. So he has worked really closely with us to help us stay up to speed on the constantly shifting guidelines and things. The main takeaway I got from Mr. Holsopple in my conversation with him yesterday is, and I don't want to diminish the importance of hand washing, sanitizing, and wiping things down. That's still extremely important. The main way that COVID-19 is spread is through aerosol, through your breath, through droplets. And so, whereas the cleaning of hands and surfaces is still very important, be aware that the number one with a bullet way, the biggest way by far that you spread COVID-19, that we spread it to each other, is breathing each other's air. So I really want to shift our focus to focusing not less on those other important things, but just to continue to focus more and be more cognizant of breathing each other's air, and that's the biggest risk. So that's why we continue to wear masks. If you see us without masks, it's because we're alone in rooms and offices right now. Each of us is alone in a room right now. And also because our entire staff has been fully vaccinated, and so we're okay to be in a room with another fully vaccinated person. But when students are here, we continue to wear our masks all the time and continue to follow those safety protocols. The desk shields keep students. We have desk shields still in all of our rooms. We're going to continue with those because they block that airflow. They keep students from breathing directly on one another quite as much. And we go outside frequently. Our students get to go outside 3 times a day in our shortened day for a nice 10-minute break outdoors. And so we're really focused on, being careful with the air we breathe and not breathing each other's air. I know Mr. Holsopple, even if it's really, really cold, he's kept his windows open in his room. And so that's a great, great mitigation, just to have that fresh airflow to help. That helps out a lot. So that really was the main thing I wanted to share today, and talking with him and asking him what we could share. What else is on our agenda today? We're coming to a close. We're going to finish morning coffee a little early today, and that's okay because we have our first staff meeting together in person for the first time in 13 months, for the first time since early March last year. And I didn't look on the calendar and see if we had a staff meeting in March, because we probably had one right before spring break. It could even have been in the end of February. Could even be looking at almost 14 months. And so I'm really excited just to be in the same room with our staff and to have coffee and some breakfast together and chat. So it's good that we'll wrap up a little early and have a little more time to prepare for that, which it might sound silly, but to me is like a monumental event. Like, it's really cool. A long time coming. Lottery update. The first lottery is closed. The second lottery is open. You can absolutely apply in the lottery. Parents, remember, if you have a student enrolled at STrEAM, you don't have to apply. You keep your seat. You're okay. It's only for new incoming students. We are going to end up taking more sixth graders. We didn't fill all of our seats. We filled more seats than we ever have. I think we have 57 sixth graders right now, Sylvia. So in the past, in the first lottery, I think the best we've ever done is to get 48 sixth graders in the first lottery, and we fill 60 seats. We filled those 60 seats last year or the year before, but we filled the rest of them in the second lottery. So we have a few seats open in sixth grade, and we set that at 60. And then in the fall, we look and see if we can expand that based on our schedule. And so we'll probably expand it to 64 or 66. So we do have room for more sixth graders. Right now, there is a waiting list for 7th and 8th grade. We didn't open any 8th grade seats at all because our 7th grade class looks like they'll come back and keep those seats full. So those things change, those things shift. If you're interested in STrEAM at all, put in for the lottery. Even if you get offered a seat, you don't have to accept it. You change your mind, you decline it. So I always tell parents, if you're interested, if you're even thinking at all about STrEAM, put in for the lottery, because it's not going to hurt anything. Literally, it can't hurt anything if you put in for the lottery and then go to another school or decide not to come. And things shift around. We always end up taking more students in the fall. Families move. We always have, military families and other families that move for work purposes and life purposes. And so things change. So put in for the lottery. And also, once again, if we have any of our new families joining us, watching this later on YouTube, welcome to our new families. We're super excited to have you for the 21-22 school year for our 6th year. Miss Kotelman, our sixth year since we started this thing. Miss Kotelman's been with me from the beginning. Miss Kotelman is the first teacher I ever hired at STrEAM Academy. So yeah, next year it's going to be awesome. Mr. Mosen, tell us about Ski Club 2.0. Ski Club's so nice, we had to run it back twice.
Well, everything that I want to share has to do with the speakers that have come before me. The efforts by the 501c3 to raise money has helped so much as we apply for grants, because when you show effort from your community, the parents, to support what you're doing, and they're raising money, then we can get people that are offering grants to help us with that. So that's happening right now. So the efforts that the 501c3 and all these baskets are going, those efforts are helping when I'm applying for grants for ski gear and stuff. So that's really cool. And we're finally getting those grants in has been, Melissa's been helping me so much, and it's happening. So I'm happy about that. Two, as Mr. Perkins and I have been discovering, there's a lot of interest in people being outside, not competing in skiing in our ski club. They love to just ski and talk. A lot of the 6th graders are talking about school, which is so interesting. I can just hear them talking about their classes. And a lot of them talk about what they're learning with Miss Kotelman, Miss Gabel, which is it's just so hilarious to hear them talking and just like, wow, you got to be careful. They are really listening to what you guys are teaching. And it's just impressive how that's going. And today is day 27 with an average of 20 kids per day. Tomorrow's day 28, and we'll be done. So I think we called it right. I think the weather's starting to switch and the rain and such, but it's been a great group, and just knock on wood, we're gonna finish the season with no injuries and nobody getting lost. That's my hope, and I won't report on that till after we succeed at that. So thanks for everyone's support.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mosen, and to Mr. Perkins, our ski club coaches and coordinators, and It's been awesome. It's been great. We have such awesome engagement, and I echo Mr. Mosen in thanking our families, our community, our teachers for supporting our fundraising efforts and our grant efforts. It's much appreciated. We do have, I want to just briefly, mention we do have another grant we got through Cook Inlet in a partnership with Cook Inlet Tribal Council. It's a Department of Defense grant, huge, awesome federal grant to implement, the grant calls it innovation stations. Cook Inlet Tribal has what they call a fab lab. If you've ever seen that or heard of that, where they have a building and they have all of this cool equipment for kids to build and make and create. And so we're making a mini version of that here at STrEAM Academy. We've tapped who I think is the perfect teacher to do this, to be the lead on it, and then another teacher to also support it and be able to teach classes. And so Mr. Perkins is our primary Fab Lab Innovation Station teacher. And he, early on when we opened the school, Mr. Perkins was also one of our original teachers, also one of the first teachers hired in our first year. Mr. Perkins started advocating for doing CTE. It fits so well with STEM, really. CTE and STEM go hand in hand. He, I remember when he did like year 1 or year 2, he did the sled building project, and students had to create and build and test sleds. It was awesome type of hands-on project that he's passionate about. So Mr. Perkins will be teaching 6 sections next year of applied tech, which is what it'll say on paper. And so what that is in the Fab Lab, learning to use a laser printer and a laser cutter and the Dremel tools and, soldering and building and creating and making. And Cook Inlet has, and Mr. Beer is also being trained and can also teach some of those classes in conjunction with him. And so they've been doing a lot of training, a lot of work. We've been setting up our Fab Lab. We have a new room at Wayland next to my office that's designated to be our Fab Lab. We're going to have the carpet ripped out and have hard floors put in. We've got toolboxes, and we're turning it into like a CTE center. So I'm just super excited about that. Super excited for Mr. Perkins to lead that. And yeah, it's pretty cool. All students next year most of our students will have a class where they're in the Fab Lab with Mr. Perkins. So it's going to be cool. We're going to do like a sort of a pre-Fab Lab applied tech apps class for 6th graders to get them ready for this, and to also talk about the things Ms. Kotelman and Ms. Gabel are focusing on to teach them to use Google Drive and their Google tools. Mr. Beer is going to teach that, and hopefully be able to switch out and get them in the Fab Lab once in a while. And then 7th and 8th grade, they'll have Fab Lab with Mr. Perkins. That's the plan right now. So pretty exciting. Wanted to share that. All right, that brings us to the end of morning coffee. We're going to wrap up a little early and let Mrs. Beyondich run and pick up our coffee from Kaladi and start setting up for our staff meeting. Is there anything anyone would like to share for the good of the order? We're ready to bring morning coffee to a close. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Ms. Gabel and Ms. Kotelman, for your awesome 6th grade presentations. Thank you, Ms. Bonertz, Ms. Beyondich, Mr. Mosen, for sharing updates with us. Thanks, parents and community members who've joined us. And to our YouTube audience, thank you for being here. We will say goodbye to you and we'll sign out. Have a great day, and make sure that you go outside every day.